92% of sales are attributable to word-of-mouth marketing. You must use hypnosis. What you cannot allow is for the client's mind to wander, and there are specific techniques to do that.
I want to get my forthcoming book sponsor magnet sponsored, and I'm going to pitch you the idea, and then I want you to punch holes in it, tell me what I'm missing, tell me how I can make it better.
The more percentage of a book is read, the more likely that reader is to word-of-mouth market that book. If there is even a product that pertains to your book, you then become the VIP for that, and you therefore set yourself up to be the most credible voices on behalf of companies.
What happens if they no longer sell that product or service and they go out of business or something? Is there any risk to mentioning your favorite stuff in your book?
If you'd like to be the exclusive sponsor of this book, it's going to be 100x the price. It's a major money grab.
Become a white label author, basically.
Exactly. It works if nobody finds out that that's what you're doing. Hi, I'm Joshua Lisec. I've ghostwritten more than 85 full-length nonfiction books. There have been a few award winners and some mainstream major bestsellers, but the type of author that I work with is the sort of person who might be able to attract sponsorships for their book, and that is a little discussed topic, and we're here to talk about that today. Right, Justin?
Love it. So you wrote an article several years back about this very topic around how authors, people who write books can actually get sponsorships, corporate sponsorships, things like that. And so let's just talk about the elephant in the room. Is it actually possible for authors who don't have a large following on social media or have a large newsletter or something, is it possible for them to get sponsored?
100%. The frame through which to look at author sponsorship is that by being an author, you wrote the book on your topic, right? If there is a cause, if there is an industry, if there is even a product that pertains to your book, to your message, you then become the VIP for that. You become the very important person associated with that. You could consider yourself the spokesperson, the advocate for, or the evangelist on that cause or that industry or that product. And you therefore set yourself up to be one of, if not the most credible voices on behalf of companies that stand to gain from your book's existence and its promotion. It's a true hand in glove fit, author and sponsor, and yet there's maybe 3 people in the world that talk about this. Author sponsorship.
Well, I think a lot of people think of the TikTokers who are dancing or something, or the traditional lifestyle influencer as the people that the consumer brands are sponsoring. But you actually shared a story about a physician named Karen who had written a book about everything that she wished women knew with their bodies, I think, right? And it seems like she wasn't really well known, didn't have a large following, but she was able to get sponsorship. So tell me a little bit more about what happened there.
Yes. So the story of Karen, and this is a real person, but because of confidentiality non-disclosures, a couple of identifying details have been changed, of course. This is about the first half of my ghostwriting career was more so, let's say, behind the curtain, under the rug, whatever the appropriate metaphor would be. What we can share about her situation is that she was an advocate for her audience. That's what sponsors were looking for. That's what her sponsors were, in fact, looking for. And so what works for Karen, what works for other authors is something like a partnership where she goes right from being an author to being a speaker, to being a presenter, and gets paid by the corporate sponsor, the organizational sponsor. It can be a nonprofit, it could be an NGO in your situation. But think about what existing organizations gain the most from the ideas in your book being popularized. There was another book that came out a few years ago, 2015, I believe, that covered health and wellness topics. And this is a little bit more e-commerce influencer-y than what you might consider like a corporate sponsorship model where there's the official spokesperson of such and such brand, but it's a little bit more e-commerce-y. This particular book mentions a type of, let's say, juicing program. Well, guess what? That juicing program pertaining to a different company, different from the author, sponsored the author, bought hundreds of copies of their book, and began promoting the book, even though the author was independent of the juicing brand, let's say the grain juicing brand company. So that alone becomes powerful marketing. It's credibility for the company's perspective. If they're promoting an author who is a success story of their product, their program, it just makes sense. It's advertising 101 from the brand's perspective because it's social proof, but it's more than social proof, it's authority. And you think about the different dimensions of persuasion. If you can add in the authority, the credibility, and the social proof, you're multiplying the effectiveness, which is a no-brainer from a company's perspective to sponsor an author in that case.
I can share a quick anecdote. It's not exactly the same, but Amazon actually paid me to fly down to VidCon, which is a conference, to speak on one of their panels because they were trying to spread the word about their Amazon Live commerce feature that was kind of a nascent program that they were running. And so, my wife and I had seen a lot of success doing it. And so they wanted us up there on the stage evangelizing how awesome Amazon Live has been for our business. And I do write, but our primary, medium is video. But like it's a similar kind of analog there where it's like they were very motivated to like find non-corporate shills basically, or non-corporate people on the stage and be like, Amazon Live is awesome. It's very different to have an actual user or an actual advocate up there, singing the praises of your brand. I think you mentioned in the article that one of the things Karen did was she actually made a webinar, it sounded like, in partnership with that particular brand. And then the brand spent thousands of dollars driving registrants and attendees to that webinar. So it's like win-win, right? Because Karen gets more exposure, it sounds like, for her book and everything that's going on in her universe, but the brand also has something else to promote other than their own products, right?
Yes, and it's more than those dimensions of the credibility and authority and the social proof, because this individual, this author, was previously unaffiliated with the brand. So like you said, it's a true example of an organic influencer. I just love this product so much. I'm so passionate about this cause that it doesn't look astroturfed, it doesn't look fake. It is real. And this aspect of partnership, sponsorship, it can look different in different industries. Not every single author sponsorship scenario is going to be exactly like Karen's, like it was in that piece. There's others that are more ubiquitous, in which the author is an affiliate promoter, is an affiliate marketer for several different software or tools, let's say, and maybe the book is related to internet marketing. And in the resources section, and then throughout the book, they regularly drop casual mention of the various tools that they use and that they recommend using. And maybe there's like a special coupon code for 20% off author book 20, for example, to get that special thing. So that's a little bit less, let's say, sponsorship and more like affiliate. But what is the company going to do? They're going to market the heck out of that book because it's authority, it's credibility. That this person that you know, like, and trust, unaffiliated with our software, let's say, is singing your praises and literally wrote the book on how to use our software as part of their internet marketing solutions. So that's a little bit more like a corporate sponsorship 2.0. Corporate sponsorship 1.0 is more like paying you to speak, buying 1,000 copies of your book and distributing them throughout our organization, paying for you to come and do a webinar, for example. A little bit more old school influencer in that way, or like spokesperson almost. But in the internet marketing age, it can be a little bit more decentralized, distributed, a little bit more like an affiliate marketer, but it still behooves the company to promote the author as much as possible. It benefits them. Even if it's, financially speaking, not a lump sum payment or copies purchased, even if it's just an affiliate promotion deal, that still checks the boxes of what we think of in terms of a sponsorship for an author.
When you mention specific like brands or tools or services or something in your book, I don't know, one thing I'm thinking that maybe I'm concerned about is like, what happens if they no longer like sell that product or service, or they go out of business or something? Doesn't that make your book feel kind of dated? I don't know. I've read books like where it like jumps off the page like, wow, this must have been written like 20 years ago or something. And so is there any risk to kind of organically mentioning your favorite stuff in your book?
There is risk, but I would say it's a low risk relative to the high reward. So it's an outsized reward relative to the risk. There are books that are still widely read that sell tens of thousands of copies per month. I happen to know because I'm privy to the sales data. And guess what? They mention brands that have been out of business for more than 10 years. They do stick out, in my opinion, but guess what? Nobody cares. Because A, they may not know that there was this big story about that company going out of business. Or B, even if they do, they say, oh, well, this book was published, but the ideas are timeless. Who cares? And it's ignored. It's written out. It's kind of like an inversion of the reticular activating system, where you see something everywhere and you notice it. For example, if you buy a red Prius, now you see red Prius around every corner. This is the inversion of that, where, oh, okay, that company went out of business. Okay, they're not relevant. And then your brain shuts off every time you see the brand mentioned for the rest of the chapter. It's like you don't see it, and so you forget it. And it, from the reader's perspective, may then also be, okay, that was a brand that was successful when the book came out. I'm sure it went really well for them. And again, checking it out and dismissing it, that's the sum of the risk. But the reward was, for the first 3 years of the book coming out, there may have been a lot of good deals you could get accomplished.
As a ghostwriter, you've written many books, worked with a lot of subject matter experts and entrepreneurs and CEOs and all that stuff. Is there a specific way that you think you need to write or structure a book to make it more like sponsorable? Hey, real quickly, before we hear that answer, want to know the secret to unlocking reliable recurring income and building a devoted community without all the headaches? Well, this video is brought to you by Uscreen, the all-in-one membership platform designed to make your life easier and your pockets fuller. See, I believe memberships are the future for many creators, but here's the game changer. Uscreen creators are profiting faster than they ever thought possible. In fact, over 70% of Uscreen creators become profitable within just 3 months. That's right, 3 months. Uscreen has helped creators earn more than $150 million a year and reaches over 10 million users. And you don't need millions of followers or hundreds of videos to start. Uscreen is for creators of all sizes looking to build a reliable, recurring income with their content and community. And talk about seamless, Uscreen takes care of everything from live streaming to chat rooms to in-depth analytics. They've got you covered, but here's the best part. Uscreen helps you create your own branded apps. Imagine having a Netflix-style membership experience, but just for your content. That's what Yoga with Adrienne did with her app, Find What Feels Good. It's an amazing ad-free experience for her community, all built by Uscreen. Now, if you're worried about the tech stuff, don't be. Uscreen offers free content migration, best-in-class customer support, and a dedicated success manager to guide you every step of the way. Okay, the most important reason that you should check out Uscreen is that they're just awesome people. You know, I've had multiple chances to hang out with folks on their team like Rob and Srey at a couple recent conferences, and they just couldn't be nicer and more dedicated to serving the creator community. So why settle for less when you can have more profits, more community, and more freedom? So to start your membership journey with Uscreen, click the link below.
What sponsors are looking for from an author is the percentage of the book read. We'll put it that way. And in fact, that's what everyone's looking for. Everyone who benefits from a book's existence is what they want. Publisher, author, publicist, promoter, distributor, wholesaler, doesn't matter. Librarians, it's percentage of the book read. Because why? Because the more percentage of a book is read, the more likely that reader is to word of mouth market that book. And according to Nielsen, which oversees BookScan, which reports to all the major bestseller lists, 92% of sales are attributable to word of mouth marketing. Therefore, to sell a whole lot of books, you gotta have people read as much of it as possible. And therefore, in order to get readers to read as much of it as possible, you must use advanced persuasion techniques. Think hypnosis in print. Now I bring up hypnosis. Hypno-writing would be applied hypnosis to the written form. I bring this up because in hypnosis sessions, which oddly map well onto the reading experience, because you're kind of entering into a trance, allowing the author's words alone to guide you into this world, it's similar. In the hypnosis space, what you cannot allow, if you're the hypnotist, is for the client's mind to wander, for the patient to tune you out, to check out, think about something else. You have got to keep their attention for upwards of an hour, anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. And there are specific techniques to do that, like a continuous opening and then closing of loops, followed by the closing and the opening of loops, where you're using these little miniature cliffhanger moments and also predictions of you're going to feel this when we get to that chapter, or you're probably thinking this already, and what matters next is, well, what matters next? These little cliffhanger moments throughout the book to keep people going, keep them reading, keep their curiosity stoked. And so sustaining that throughout the book is the most essential thing you can do, whether you are an author who's sponsored, or you're doing any kind of affiliate promotions, or you're going solo.
Love that perspective. All right, I'm going to pitch you my idea for how I want to get my forthcoming book sponsor magnet sponsored. Okay, very meta. And I'm going to pitch you the idea, and then I want you to punch holes in it, tell me what I'm missing, maybe tell me how I can make it better. All right, so my idea is, my book is going to be all around sponsorship strategy. And full disclosure, Joshua and I worked together to help structure some of the early drafts of the book. And my idea is like, man, there's all these creator economy companies out there, right, who are trying to find new creators, new influencers to work with their SaaS tool, their company, whatever it is. And my idea is like, man, if I write the definitive book on sponsor strategy, why not go to some of these companies and say, hey, I will be more than happy to write a forward about how I love using your brand in my business, and talking about how I use it to get more sponsorships and blah 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 blah. And then on the front cover there's a special badge where it's like the ConvertKit edition of Sponsor Magnet or something like that. Man, I'm thinking, buy 1,000 copies of that, put that in the swag bag at this company's conference, like win-win. And I could do this potentially with multiple companies, right, to have various different editions of the book. Is this a crazy idea? What am I missing?
So the issue with multiple companies being sponsors is exclusivity is valuable, and being one of many is not so much, especially if there's a competitor's edition that's available on Amazon. If I'm promoting your book for, let's say, ConvertKit, and there's a competitor like, let's say, ActiveCampaign, and people are buying versions of that off of Amazon or from your website, I don't want any
Probably
part
would
of that.
probably would have to be vertical specific for sure. Like I'd only have one ESP version of it or something.
Yes. And it also might make sense not to have the book available from Amazon, but you have vertical specific funnels actually of the book available, where anyone who visits the website, let's say, you have to be careful about how you structure the availability of the book from a customer's perspective, because it feels a little too money grabby to have one book that's written for multiple audiences to try to score as much money as possible, and the objective of it is not to sell as many copies and as much value as possible. So I think there's a balance to doing so. Although having the foreword by, let's say, the founder of such and such company, I like that. That's cool. So long as their foreword that's written by the CEO of the company is specifically about how so many people who use our product are also following these ideas that are in this book. And if you follow the ideas in this book, you'll be successful too, just like everyone who uses our software is. For example, so that works out. Now, you could offer an availability of exclusivity. If you'd like to be the exclusive sponsor of this book, it's going to be 100x the price.
Yeah.
If you'd like to be one of others, then it's going to be one tenth of that price, or 1/100th of that price, for example. So that way they can take the pick of, are they accepting of the risk of maybe multiple versions of this book existing and being out there, or if they want to be the one and the only for this many hundreds of thousands of dollars versus a low, perhaps a high four or low five-figure amount, let's say, or they really want to be the one and only for this. I think that's acceptable. That will probably work. Plus, the CEO of the company that's sponsoring you, they get now the acclaim of having been an author, or rather a contributor to this hyper successful book. So then, because the CEO's name is on the cover of the book, it's literally on the cover of the book, and the name of the company's on the cover of the book, they can market it, promote it, sell it, etc. through their events, from their website, for example, sending it out. Like they're literally bought in to it, and that's pretty cool. So the concern that I have is too many books with different forward contributors floating around, and the way to address that is, would you like to be the exclusive or one of our vertical specific partners for the launch of this book? So long as you have the funnels themselves, and when you promote this book through your website, use a Shopify plugin or what have you to sell it rather than using Amazon. Yes, it's a logistical question more so than a is this a good idea or a bad idea question.
The idea was more born from like, how can I get the widest distribution possible? It was less about like, let me make a ton of money off this. It was more like, I want to tap into all these customers, or these companies' customer bases to like get the book out there in people's hands.
This is true, and the perception that readers have is not about the distribution, it's about the cash. And I'll give you an example for this. There have been a couple of mini controversies in which publishers, they're not really publishers, they're more like self-publishing outfits. They will work with an author on a book, and then they will license the manuscript to other competitors of theirs, and those people can buy the rights to be the author of the book. No joke. So let's say there's a law firm, a family law firm, and they have a client who authors the book for like, and it's like a $500 server or something like that. It's ridiculously cheap. But then they will take that finished manuscript and offer it. Would you like to be the author of this book for $300? And then they will license that manuscript over and over and over. But those family lawyers are just having, they're printing like 100 copies for friends, family, clients, their partners, and clients can come in and pick up the book. Oh, this looks like a really good book. It's not available on Amazon, exclusively from our office. And it's, from the publishing company's perspective, it's a major money grab.
So it's like a white label, become a white label author, basically.
Exactly. It works if nobody finds out that that's what you're doing.
So if it's like wink, wink, nod, nod, then maybe it'll work. Fascinating, man. Joshua, if you had to think of like the one or two, or maybe the most important thing that you wish you would have known about sponsorships when you started writing, does something jump to mind?
Yes, and that's the position of the sponsor. What do sponsors want? And then give that to them. what they want is easier ways to sell more. And that seems rather obvious, and yet it's lost on authors who are singularly focused on their manuscript, the quality of it. And their pitch is, my book is so great, you should totally sponsor it. But where's the pitch? Where's the what's in it for me? So what's in it for the sponsor? Well, the bigger your marketing plan, the easier it is to get a sponsor. Like, you're going to do all this to promote the book and by extension our brand? Wow, that's kind of impressive. That's the effect that you want to have on any sponsor that you pitch, is that you've already thought through all the questions that they're going to have, and they're going to be marketing, you as the author are going to be marketing your book like nuts, and you're also going to be name dropping them, their product, your experience with it, so on and so forth, to such an extent that all they have to do is say yes, because you've already thought about everything. And their thing is, well, how can, and now what can we do now? Since you're going to be doing all this, it's a little bit of parity, right? Where if they have to feel like, well, you're going to do all this stuff to promote your book, so what else can we do to promote your book? That way it'll feel fair, because you're already going to be doing so much. That's what it's like to think through it from the company's perspective, from the potential sponsor's perspective.
The thing that I love about this is that it feels so unique. Like, you better believe they're getting pitches from, lots of people with newsletter audiences and lots of people with social media followings and stuff, but very few people who are reaching out who are authors, right? Who have books and things like that. So already right there, you're separating yourself. Joshua, thank you so much, man. If people want to learn more about you and your services and things like that, where should they go?
Yeah, the place would be Lisec, ghostwriting.com. Lisec, ghostwriting.com.
Awesome. Thanks again, man.